a much better second half than the first, and we did manage to get the win. Just for your info, Lawrence, there's a massive echo coming out of your system at the moment, mate. So what I'll do is I'll run through some comments before we get Lawrence's thoughts on proceedings. At half-time, we were talking about a stale Celtic performance where we were lacking ideas, lacking a cutting edge. And, some of the comments that were coming through were such that we should stick to the game plan, give it 15 minutes, and the players on the park will see it through. That's exactly what happened. Then we made a triple change. We got the second goal from the captain, Callum McGregor, after Cameron Carter-Vickers had opened the scoring. And we were home and dry at 2-0. We're one step closer to winning the league title. We're still sitting top of the league, 3 points better off than Rangers, who beat St Johnstone away 1-0 tonight. So there we are. We have drawn a game at the weekend, but we're back to winning ways. And I will test Lawrence's system in just a moment or two. But let's go to your comments. Lawrence is all head geared up. That should stop the echo. Lawrence Connolly, what was your thoughts on that second half performance, sir?
Yeah, it's a win. It's 3 points. A wee bit nervy. Are we getting to the nervy time of the season? Definitely. I think the subs were good, mate. Get a bit of experience on. But a goal from a set piece.
Well, I'm going to pick up on that point. The triple change. We spoke at half-time, Lawrence, about some of the changes that could be made. We were frustrated at Easter Road with the lack of changes. And we suggested that it would be unlikely for us to make any big changes at half-time. That didn't happen. But after opening the scoring, and we'll come back to the goal, Cameron Carter-Vickers' overall performance, which was excellent, we make the triple change. And what I would say on that triple change, you and Boy Martin, who is normally in the comments field, but he did send me a message saying we look far better when Beaton's playing at number 6 and McGregor's further up the park or playing at number 8. Hatate didn't have a great first half, Lawrence. We spoke about his form dipping a wee bit. Do we look better with Beaton at 6 and McGregor at 8?
Tell you what, I'd be surprised if Rio's kept his start position. I think, on tonight, you go to Livingston, I think it probably is Beaton at 6 and McGregor at 8.
It's one of these things this season. Beaton's season started off really poorly. Midtjylland getting sent off. He's had 2 sending offs this season. But when that point was sent through to me, I thought back to the Dundee game where we managed the game out and I think Beaton came on for the last 20 minutes. It could well be that he is that type of player, Lawrence, and he can just take the energy out of a game at the last 20 minutes and manage the game out. Or it could well be, like you say, that we go into that game away to Livingston, which has been a tricky tie for us in the last few seasons, and Beaton might well get a start. We also saw a welcome reintroduction to the side of Karamoku Dembele, who won a corner and was swiftly booked for doing absolutely hee-haw. I'm going to bring in Jogvi. Delighted to see Jamesy Forrest showing us he still has something to offer. Calmac moving one up in scoring, showing our number 8's how it's done. Well done, the Scots boys. Right, 2 points there. Thanks for your comment on YouTube. The first one being James Forrest. He has come in for quite a bit of stick as of late, Lawrence. But I think when he came on, he looked very sharp.
Yeah, definitely freshened it up, didn't he? Looking sharp. Didn't show any nerves, but you wouldn't expect a quadruple treble winner, amongst his other honours, to have nerves, would you? I think maybe that's part of the boys that come on have been over the course before, haven't they? And know what's required at this end of the season. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, when I read out the starting lineup, I'm not sure if I made this point. I certainly made the point about the goals. But when you look at the amount of appearances in the Celtic side, the starting 11, there was only 2 players that had played more games than 50 for Celtic, and they were Greg Taylor with 72. This was his 73rd appearance. Callum McGregor making his 366th appearance. So in the entire lineup, only 2 players, Lawrence, had made more than 50 appearances for Celtic. And I think that shows you the transformation of this side, the amount of players who have been brought in. And it was, experience that we brought on in the 63rd minute in Rogic, Beaton and Forrest. We've spoken about the impact of Forrest and Beaton, but to be honest with you, I think that it would have been an overreaction to completely write Forrest off. I'd seen it. I'd seen it on social media. I'd seen it in the comment section after games. He's 30 years of age. He's a winner when you look at his honours, Lawrence. And, even this season, we've seen performances against Leverkusen away, St Johnstone, and in the League Cup semi-final, where Forrest has been pivotal. So I wasn't quite ready to put him out to grass just yet. Do you think the criticism's been over the top for Jamesy?
Yeah, listen, it's a wee bit overdone. I think he's probably moved from like first choice, one of the first names in the team sheet, to being a squad player. But what a player to have in your squad. He can definitely turn it on. I thought, when he came on, he was great tonight. We're going to need players like him and Beaton. The guys that they know what it takes to win the league, to get this done. It's another game ticked off. We'll play Livingston at the weekend, and then we're down to one game a week, which will surely benefit us.
Yeah, I hope it does. I mean, we were talking earlier about, I wanted to make as much progress as we could in Europe, and I think that when you go into a second leg and you're 2-0 down, even when you're going away from home, you want to do your best. You want to stay in the competition. A lot of fans were of the opposite view. They wanted us out of that tournament so we could concentrate in the league. We are now in that scenario, and as you say, we can concentrate on getting the team together so it's not just game recovery, Lawrence, and there can be more time to analyse what's been going wrong recently and obviously put it right. The other substitute that came in was Tom Rogic, and he also had been under some criticism recently, but he looked a wee bit more like the Tommy of old when he came on, didn't he?
Yeah, he looked a bit fresher. Listen, maybe some other, we were tired when Forrest and Rogic came on. Fresh legs is sometimes a bit an advantage. I think Tom is definitely a player that will benefit from one game a week rather than Wednesday weekend. So it's good to see him back to a bit of form. We know what he can give us. A set piece goal. The two centre halves combining well. It's when was the last time we saw a set piece goal? Maybe we'll see a glut of them now, mate. Now we know what to do. Just put it on to Starfield and he'll knock it down to Big Cam and Carter-Vickers.
We will talk about the goals, but just another point I was looking at before the game, looking at the stats, the facts and figures of each individual player. Other than Joe Hart, the only player on that park who hasn't scored a goal for Celtic is Carol Starfield. And he certainly threw himself at that, and as you say, created a chance out of that scenario for Cameron Carter-Vickers. I'm very keen for everybody to get involved in tonight's discussion. So make your comments, regardless of where you're viewing the Celtic State of Mind Bulletin. You could be watching on Facebook or LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch or Twitter. If you are watching on YouTube, get yourself subscribing to the channel. We have massive content on that channel coming up. We've got a right good interview tomorrow night, actually, so hopefully we'll get that turned around and get it on the channel ASAP. We've got loads of music coming up as well. We've got something like 30 sessions in the diary, Lawrence, some big names in there as well. So get subscribing to the channel. We're trying to grow that. Yeah.
I would say it's different kind of sessions from the ones I'm used to, but otherwise I'm really disappointed. I've not been invited.
Well, yeah, it is. It's more of an acoustic vibe rather than the rock and roll sessions that you go on, Lawrence, from what I've heard. Michael McDonald comes in on YouTube to say, when Juranovic ups his game, the whole team ups their game. The man is a dynamo. Juranovic, if we think back to his introduction to the side, there's been chat around the deal that we did and the fact that it caused a few issues behind the scenes, that deal was actually rushed through by the now ex-CEO. However, I think Juranovic has proven his worth. We only paid £2.7 million for this guy, Lawrence. And as Michael says, when he plays, the whole thing, the tempo does increase.
I think dynamo really sums him up, doesn't it?
Aye.
Yeah, I don't think we've had a bad buy this season so far. Ange has really nailed it on the transfer front, hasn't the value for money we've brought in. It's been quite some time since we've seen anything like that. So, yeah, another great game from Juranovic. But tell you what, Maeda, he put some in some shift. And see that volley, the ball through. He's unlucky there, isn't he? He's done well to catch it.
The technique required to get that, his foot wrapped round the ball. It was a beautiful wee dink, by the way, by Callum McGregor. But for him to get that amount on the end of it, he deserved a goal. I mean, I was critical of his 4 chances in the first half ones, but he done very, very well there.
Yeah, I thought, as you say, outstanding technique. It would just, it deserved a goal. That would have been cracking. But listen, happy with 2-0 and 3 points, who's not? And calling the correct score before the game. You did.
I did shout for a 4-0, which was never going to happen after that first half performance. But we're talking about getting it right in the transfer market, Lawrence. That team that started tonight cost something like 17 million quid for the entire starting 11. You look at the value for money on, I know it wasn't his best game. Riho Hatate, £1.38 million. Matt O'Reilly, 1.62 million quid. Joe Hart, just over £1 million. And as we've already said, Juranovic at 2.7. Now, that's a huge turnaround from the kind of spend we were looking at last year. Joe Hart, even just compare him to Barkas, for example, £5 million for a goalie who has been an unmitigated disaster. And I think the days of us throwing money down the pan like that have well and truly gone.
Let's hope so, mate. I mean, there seemed to be a lot of wasting money, didn't there? I suppose it's not so much the size of the transfer fees, it's when you get it wrong at that level, isn't it? Yeti, 5 million, Barkas, 5 million. But, there's been a few players that spent a bit of cash on, and you're going, why? Bio, Shved.
It's a real list, isn't it? It goes on and on. Yeah. Millions and millions of pounds.
And it really does seem to have got a hold of this transfer market, much to the surprise of the Scottish press, no doubt, because they seem to be surprised that he actually knew anything about Hearts, anything about football outside of Australia and Japan. But there you go.
I'll give you an example. Abada, 3.6 million quid. We bought him when he was 19 years of age, Lawrence. We bought Klamala at 19, I'm sure, for about the same price. So I just think that it's never an exact science, and I get that. There's always going to be players and it doesn't work out. But I just think when you look at the scenario we were in, we couldn't really afford. There was a real small margin of error in terms of the transfer market and the recruitment this season, and I think we've got it right.
Yeah, definitely. If we can get that right, it balances up on the wage side as well. If you know what I mean? £10 million players want the wages here, £10 million player, don't they? So it can cause a bit, I suppose, disharmony in the squad if somebody's on huge wages. There's rumours of people on huge wages up who don't even play, upsetting the squad at other teams, and it's something you don't want to bring in, isn't it?
No, you're right. So, it's one thing that has improved. We've been critical of the board. Even today we were talking about the decision to play Rangers in Sydney. We've been critical of the board, throughout last season. But one thing certainly that has been done properly and been done right has been the recruitment this time round. Massive credit to Ange Postecoglou for that.
Listen, the January window as well. Michael Nicholson's got to get some credit in this as well. Imagine because Ange's always saying it's Michael he's working with. Spending money in January. Who knows, it could pay off getting them in early.
Well, you're looking ahead to the Champions League, aren't you? I mean, it's something that we've failed to do time and time again. Get the squad right for what had been the qualifiers up to this point.
Even the running. I'm sure we're both there. Well, I know we've both been through seasons where you're thinking, just spend a wee bit at the beginning rather than the last day. Maybe bring in Stephen Fletcher and secure the title.
I knew you were going to pull out the big names, weren't you? I knew that.
Yeah,
that's when it went to Burnley, wasn't it? That was 2011. Am I right?
Yep. But listen, it's not something you need to be a rocket science to see. Everybody screaming out, get the transfers done early, get the players in, get them settled, buy the players. It doesn't always need to be loans. And it appear we've bought at the right price, and they look quality so far for what we've seen on them. So 9 games to go, mate, in the league. What is it? 1-7 draw 1 should be enough.
Let's have a look at the league. Celtic, as we were saying earlier, 3 points ahead of challengers, Rangers, with then there's quite a big gap in third place. You've got Hearts on 49 points, Livingston, Hibs and Dundee United making up the top 6. Aberdeen languishing in 10th position above St Johnstone and Dundee. The other scores tonight, obviously Celtic beat them. I was only going to say Dunfermline there. Dunfermline haven't been in the top league for a decade. St Mirren 2-0. Dundee and Hibs scoreless draw, and Hearts beat Aberdeen 2-0. Livingston 2, Dundee United 1. Motherwell 0, Ross County 1. Good result for Ross County. St Johnstone 0 and Rangers 1. Just going in there to see if it was a penalty. No, it wasn't. It was a third-minute goal by Kamara. So Celtic sitting pretty at top of the table. As you say, 9 games to go. And IH Decorating's back in on the comments. Huge relief when Vickers scored. The team relaxed and looked much more like themselves after we were 1 up. Every win at this stage is a great win. Totally agree with that. But that brings us on to the subject of Cameron Carter-Vickers. You spoke about that goal, remember, against Ross County, Lawrence. You've mentioned it a few times, where it was a speculative effort. There was a ricochet. It's gone in, opens the game up. His goal did exactly that tonight as well, didn't it?
Yeah. You were looking too slow, too ponderous, not moving it quick enough. And a set-piece goal, it's just a thing of beauty, isn't it? As rare as it is at Celtic Park. But it opened it up. We look much more like Celtic we can be. I feel Ange got his subs right as well, getting experience on. Mm-hmm. And yeah, 1-0. I don't think it was ever in doubt after we'd opened the scoring.
But we've made 4 subs tonight, though. Why didn't we do that on Sunday? If I'm going to throw a wee criticism in there, not to take the fun out of this, but surely Ange can see the benefit of making those substitutes tonight. Freshening it up. We did look far more energetic, far more direct after the subs came. The subs were made. The triple substitution, and I just don't know what the reluctance was on Sunday. It's beyond me because we were not playing well.
Yep, 25 out of 27 points. I don't know. Maybe it could all be calling for subs. I think he was maybe thinking we were getting enough chances. We're just needing something to drop for us. Yeah. Thought, wise after the event maybe, but listen, it's 25 from 27 points. I suppose it's a small criticism if that's what we're saying. 2 points dropped to 27.
We couldn't do a post-match without one criticism, Lawrence, could we? Because otherwise we wouldn't be the negative Celtic state of mind that we are.
Well, mate, for a criticism, why was the ref not pulling out his yellow card within the first minute?
And that must be the worst booking. The worst booking I've seen. Karamoko's. That was shocking.
Yeah, Karamoko can't get out of the way. The boy cuts across him.
Poor. On the subject of Cameron Carter-Vickers, let's labour the point for a wee while, okay? I think since he's come in, he's been an absolute standout. I mean, tonight and in other games, he seems to have a deceptive turn of pace, Lawrence, where he's going toe to toe with a player, and then all of a sudden he just finds this turn of pace, and he makes great progress. The point I was going to make is tonight was Carter-Vickers' 34th game for Celtic. That's the most games he's ever played for any one club. As we know, Celtic are his 7th loan deal, having spent time at Swansea, Bournemouth, Sheffield United, Ipswich, Luton and Stoke. His parent club, Tottenham, he's only made 5 appearances for Spurs. But Swansea City was the other club that he made more than 30 appearances for. Has he found a home at Celtic Park, Lawrence? Should we be making efforts to ensure, particularly when you look at the lack of full recuperation when it comes to Julien, that we should be making this deal a permanent one come the summer?
It's a good partnership they've got going, him and Carol Starfelt, isn't it?
What was your thoughts on Starfelt tonight, by the way? Pretty solid.
I thought it was decent. He was willing to take the ball forward as well from defence. I think he was probably more willing than Cameron Carter-Vickers to break with the ball. It's another solid performance from him. So, for me, has signed Cameron Carter-Vickers up. I think Julian's best days for Celtic are behind him. I'm not too sure why it takes so long. We were expecting to see him back in September. Not too sure why it took till January for him to get fit. And obviously he's dropped out again. Player going into just over a year left his contract. He's on big wages. I'm not too sure we'll recruit anything for someone that's going to be now a very kind of serious amount of football by the time the season finishes. It's going to be 18 months almost.
Unless we get an injury, is he going to start one of these 9?
Listen, you'd start Welsh. You need 2 injuries.
Was Welsh on the bench tonight, by the way? He wasn't. Interesting.
No, but I'd still say he's ahead of Julian.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Order at the moment. And I think he's probably not on the bench because Ange likes to keep more attacking options on the bench, doesn't he? That's where he likes to change things up. So I think if there was a change at the back, it was going to happen. I think we might have seen the return of Near beaten to the back.
Nero. Yeah, I think so, mate. I think so. 67, you're coming in on YouTube. Ange must have set off a few rockets. I think this is a good point at half-time. But a lot of energy burned in a poor first half. Wee bit frustrating. But 3 points, like gold. I did think about that in the second half. I thought that there was an urgency that seemed to be missing in the first half. And I have seen a bit of footage. Check out if it's on YouTube. I'm not sure if it will be on YouTube. There's a bit of footage of Ange in the dressing room when he's managing in Japan. And you know how he was talking about how he likes the guys just to get on with it before a game and all that? The footage I've seen...
Do you believe that?
Well, the footage I've seen, Lawrence, he goes into the changing room and he gives them a rocket, just like 67 says, and he just walks out. He comes into the dressing room, gives them the dressing down. It takes about 30 seconds. I think it's a half-time team talk, and he just walks out the dressing room. Now, I don't know if it's on YouTube, that particular bit of content, but I have seen it. And I got the impression that he must have given them a bit of a rocket because there was a real lack of urgency, but as soon as the whistle went for the second half, I think that returned.
Yeah, definitely. Though we definitely picked up the pace, but some of that's... I think the St Mirren players were struggling in the second half. I think they were absolutely knackered. As much as we looked a bit... It was a bit frustrating for us. St Mirren had to work really hard that first half, and I think that maybe paid off second half.
Grind them down?
Yep.
It did look like it. Did you see the banner that the Green Brigade unfurled in relation to the Sydney Cup?
I missed it.
Right, okay.
What were the boys saying? Not the boys. Better not use that term for the Green Brigade. I believe that's another group. There was
a really good image actually captured on Twitter, but basically it was talking about not half of anything. I'm paraphrasing. Not half of anything unless there's money to be made. You can stick the Sydney Divine Cup, etc. You can guess the rest.
See, be honest, I don't know any Celtic fan that's happy with the opposition that's been chosen. And similarly, I don't know anyone that's unhappy that we're actually...
I'm delighted we're going to Oz.
Go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, but I was reading on some of the message boards and on Twitter, apparently some of the Rangers fans are unhappy as well about going.
Because of the side show.
Yeah, and well, hopefully they get their board to reconsider. They've made both sets of fans unhappy. Apparently, yeah. It just beggars belief that they would do that. I'm not too sure how much money that has been offered.
Listen, it comes down to...
They had to include the Rangers as opposed to Celtic and another 3 or 4 teams.
See the thing though, Lawrence, I've seen a few comments coming in about, in terms of the actual setup of these things. Celtic know exactly who's in the competition before the deal is signed. These things go into an extreme amount of detail. Every single club that's involved knows who's going to be involved. They know who they're going to be playing. There's absolutely no shadow of a doubt about it. What I've seen from our Australian friends, such as Jared, who comes in once a month on the Friday show, is that he was just desperate to watch Celtic live, and you can completely understand that. Lawrence, desperate for Celtic to visit Australia for the first time since I think 2011, and it wouldn't have mattered who they were playing; he'd be there. And I think the Australian fan base would all be feeling the same, But the organisers of the tournament, and I think both clubs reckon that this derby has got some kind of box office appeal over there on a friendly basis. I remember hearing before that Scottish football was going to take the brand on the road. Do you remember there was a discussion about Celtic playing Dundee in America?
Yeah, the Dundee, or we'll play in the United Arab Emirates. We'll maybe take a game to London. Listen, there's no doubt Scottish football needs marketing more, but you've got to be aware of what you're marketing and what might come out, within the stadiums.
That's a big concern.
I think
Lawrence,
that's
it's a huge concern.
The unsavoury part of Scottish football.
A team wins the league.
Why would you take that risk?
Aye, and run riot in George Square. I mean, this is the risk. This is a big risk. So that for me is one of the reasons why I think it's an absolutely it's an ill-advised move by those on the board who will not explain their decision making, not even to the SLO, who was struggling to answer his tweets today when he was being questioned. Paddy picks up on Karamoko's yellow card. Absolutely, Paddy. Shocking decision by the referee to give him a booking for that. Wayne Jackson, I was hoping for a performance to go along with the result, but after that joust in the first half, I'll settle for us getting the 3 points. Pinball doesn't know what game we watched or what half you guys watch or what half you guys watch. I don't know if that's the comments or us, Lawrence, but I mean, that for me was a poor performance in the first half. Second half performance much improved. There was far more fluidity to it after we get the first goal.
First half, it was very much similar to performance against Hibs. Lots of the ball. They didn't threaten much, but really down to be a bad keeper the great save from a bad outside of that.
Juranovic,
wasn't too much.
Decent effort from distance. That was about it in the first half. Yeah.
So I would say second half there, it was definitely a better performance. And I appreciate with Ange's style that the opposition are going to tire. That they had to cover a lot of ground, but there was a lot of backwards and sideways passing the ball. We weren't moving it quick enough. It was always happening. So I just thought the second half was a lot fresher. Maybe that was, a large part of the second half is played after you've got a goal. So it sort of opens it up a bit for us. Mm-hmm. So obviously that reflects on it. But a set-piece goal, mate, it's just brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. And Les Watts comes in, even increased the goal difference. Yes, we did, winning 2-0 tonight. And John Boy, it actually suits us when teams try and have a go. I agree with that. But we need to find another way of trying to break down those stubborn teams in most of the league, to be honest. Lawrence made the point at the beginning of the game that we're at that point of the season where every single point is a prisoner. So we are going to be coming up against teams playing like that time and time again. Stephen Sloan, welcome back. You're watching on YouTube. How many times did Hattati give the ball away? I can see Hattati getting a wee rest. Lawrence, do you think that that will happen as of Sunday?
Yeah, well, that's where we opened the post-match, wasn't it? Beaton playing at 6 and Carmack further forward for the weekend. Hattati's been a wee bit off it, hasn't he, lately? So definitely can see him getting a rest. And for me, I'd bring in Beaton. I think we needed his experience in the team. I think the experience we brought on when we made the triple sub certainly helped the team. Oh
yeah, absolutely. And actually, you made that point similar to Bruce FM. Ange got it spot on tonight. Lots more low crosses into the box after the high balls didn't work last match. Experienced subs, Lawrence, on at 65 minutes to see the game out. Karamoko on when we got the 2-goal cushion. Yeah, no complaints from me, but I think that's a really good point by Bruce in relation to the crossing. We spoke about it before the game, and in the first half, Maeda ends up getting four chances, all with the head. So it's quite clear that we have changed our approach to getting the balls in the box. Livingston, Lawrence, we averaged 20 crosses per half this season against Livy. Let's have a quick look ahead to Sunday and Livingston. So, what do we do different this Sunday?
Keep the high balls low again. That's it, isn't it? Listen, hopefully Giacomakis will be back. I think And I think Yotta's needing a rest, mate. Push Maeda wide left and Yakima through the middle. I think Yotta's been off it for a wee while.
Since he came back, probably.
Yep.
Yeah, probably since he came back. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Thanks, everybody, for getting involved tonight. That was 1200 live on a Wednesday night. Lawrence Connolly dialing in and me doing the stuff from the studio. Thanks, everybody, for getting involved. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. Like the video. Get the thumbs up on the video as well. We're loving bringing you this daily content. We're building a massive community on YouTube and on the socials. So thanks everybody for being part of ACSOM. And thank you to Lawrence Connolly for joining me tonight on A Celtic State of Mind.